Hello and welcome to Rathods Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 17th June 2025. So let's get started with our discussion, guys. So let us see the first topic. See the title, students. India moving citizens in Iran, Israel to safety. So what is the title and what are the keywords? Keywords is nothing but whoever the Indian citizens who are living in Iran and Israel. So now Indian government is moving them to safer places. So what is the keyword here? Keyword is Indian citizens. And from which places India is moving? Especially from Israel and Iran. So I think on Saturday's class we discussed about what happened between India and Iran. So can anyone recall what is happening between India and Iran? Sorry, Iraq and Iran. Sorry, Israel and Iran. What is happening? Israel attacked Iran, right? Especially in which sites? Nuclear sites. Yes, nuclear sites and important military areas. Important military areas and nuclear sites had attacked by Israel, and even in that attack civilians they died, and also some important major military heads also died. And in retaliation Iran also started attacking Israel. So as you all know that these countries are present in which part of Asia? West Asia. So these two countries are part of West Asia. So is West Asia important for India? So in what ways this West Asia is important for India? Yes, we will be getting crude oil next. And also Israel is very important because we will be getting some defense equipments for our military purpose. Next. Okay, cyber security issues next. And Iran is very important for us regarding this Chabahar port. So why this Chabahar port is important? Yes, if India wants to reach which countries? Afghanistan and 5 Central Asian countries. What are they? Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan. Okay, so we have 5 stans in this Central Asia. To reach these places, Pakistan is not allowing us to use airspace and as well as land. So to divert Pakistan, we are developing this Chabahar port in Iran so that we can reach this Central Asian countries and Afghanistan. And apart from this West Asia is very important for India because lots of Indian diaspora is present. So what is the meaning of diaspora? Diaspora is nothing but Indian citizens who are living in other countries is called as diaspora. So why this Indian diaspora is important? Because they are Indian citizens, Indian nationals who are living in other country. So if these people are working in this West Asia, whatever the salary they will be getting, they will use some amount of the salary and they will send back to their families, yes or no? They will send back certain amount to their families. So this amount is called as remittances. What is this called as? Remittances. And if you see across the world, India is the one country which is getting more remittances in the world. Because Indian citizens not only working in India but even in other countries they are going, they are widespread and they do work there and they'll use little amount of money and they'll be sending the money back. And what is the importance of these remittances? So they'll send the money in foreign currency. So if they are sending money in foreign currency, can we increase our foreign country reserves in our country? Yes. So these remittances are very important. Please make a note. Remittances are very important for maintaining of forex reserves. So why we need forex reserves? For example, if you are buying some goods from other countries, will they accept in our Indian rupee? No. So we have to pay in the foreign currency. So for that, this forex reserve is very, very important. And one more thing here is, if you are maintaining good forex reserves, then we can attract more investment. So other countries will believe our country and they will try to invest in our country. For investment, it is very important. And next one here is, so whenever we are attracting more investment in our country, we can increase manufacturing in our country. Whenever we are increasing manufacturing, what happens? Overall GDP of our country is increasing. So what is called as GDP? The total value of final goods which are produced in a country within 1 year is called as GDP. So whenever we are attracting more investment, more manufacturing, more GDP. So whenever we are increasing more manufacturing, then what happens? We can increase employment, or we can create more jobs. So whenever we are creating more jobs and more employment, can we decrease poverty? Yes. One more thing is decreasing of poverty or decreasing of hunger, and next one is increasing of standard of living of people. And because of all this, can we increase the indicators? Okay, what are the indicators we can increase? We can increase global happiness index, and even we can decrease this global gender gap index. So everything is interconnected with this one topic of remittances. And not only that, yes, for this remittances, will we able to maintain the good relations? Yes, for this at least remittances sake, we'll try to improve bilateral relations between the countries. So this is also very important for maintaining of bilateral relations. Okay, now what is happening in this Israel and Iran? So they are fighting. They are throwing bombs, they are throwing missiles, they are using drones, everything. So because of that, what is happening in Iran and as well as Israel? Loss of lives of people, loss of property. So if in case, what happens here if Indians dies? So Indians are also living in this area and they are also working in the oil fields and in some other areas, construction sites, etc. So if Indians are dying, then what happens? Will it affect our remittances? Yes. So if remittances are affecting, will their families will be getting affected? That means if Indians are dying in this Iran and as well as Israel, it will be having impact on our Indian society. Will you accept it or not? Because the families of those people who are present in our country, then what happens if these people are not sending remittances back to their family? It is affecting poverty, hunger, and as well as standard of living of people who are present in India. So if people are dying there, again it will be burden on our country, right? Why? There will be increasing of burden. So now, whoever is the bread earner of a family dies means, then government have to give some supportive schemes. Like if husband dies, for wife, government has to give pensions. And if son dies, government have to provide proper healthcare facilities for the elderly people. So here, government will be also having increased burden if government is not taking this step. And next one here is, it is responsibility of our government to ensure safety of each and every citizen of our country. So because of this, now government is evacuating the people there and we are sending to other countries. Okay, so now you have to see one more area, like which are the countries bordering both Israel and as well as Iran. So we are shifting the people from there to other countries which they are sharing the boundary. For example, we are sending people to Armenia. Okay, yeah, so you have to see all these areas. So from which subject it is important, guys? Now tell me. From international relations, it is important because you are talking about India's relation with Israel or Iran. And next, from which subject it is important? How from polity? Yes, we are talking about Indian citizenship of India. So it is important from GS paper 2. Here we have polity. Next. Yes, society from GS1 and GS2. I am talking about remittances. Remittances is nothing but the money. Money comes under economy from GS paper 3 under economy. So from all these subjects, it is important, guys. Clear? So whenever you are reading any topic, you should not read what is there in that article. So you have to connect with whatever the subjects which are present in your UPSC. So in this way, you have to focus on interconnecting of the subjects. So now if I give you a question, like Iran-Israel conflict is happening, how this issue will be impacting India? So how can you write an answer for this? What are the points you can include? So you can include remittances, you can include some indicators or indexes. Can you include about humanitarian crisis because humans are dying? And next one is it is also going to affect our defense. Yes or no? And next one is it is going to affect our crude oil, and even it is going to affect our developmental activities in other countries, and even it will be going to affect our trade with Central Asian countries. Why? Because we are approaching the Central Asian countries to this Chabahar port. So can we add this 4 to 5 points at least? So in this way, you have to write an answer in a multi-dimensional manner. You should not think only in one dimension. Clear? So now let us see what is there in this article. So because of increasing of conflict between Iran and Israel, our Indian government has taken some steps to ensure safety of the citizens in both countries. We are going for evacuation. Evacuation is nothing but we have embassies in that country. Do you know the embassies? What is the meaning of embassies? So you are writing an exam for civil services. In that we have Indian Foreign Service, IFS. IFS is nothing but you have to work in Indian embassies in other countries. What is your work there? You have to ensure the safety of people. If people are having any problem regarding visa, regarding say immigration or emigration purpose, and if this kind of issues will happen, you have to go there and you have to evacuate the people. Because Indians are not only present in India, but even other countries, and it is a responsibility of our government to take care of those people who are present in other countries. So for that people, our Indian government will set up this embassies in almost all the countries. There you will be getting appointed. Okay, your work is this only. So if you see the details which are given in this article, it says that India actively coordinates the relocation of citizens because of this Iran-Israel conflict. And Indian students in Tehran, they are being moved to safer cities by bus. They are using bus facilities, train facilities, and as well as air facilities to evacuate the people. And over 100 Indian students, they have crossed from Iran to Armenia for safety. Yes, can you recall some topics regarding Rohingyas that we discussed in our earlier classes? So whenever you are not having safety in the country, what we'll do? We'll move on to another country, we'll cross the borders. Who are they called as? Refugees. And we have refugee crisis in our country. I think we discussed this topic 10 to 15 days ago. Rohingyas or the refugees. Okay, Myanmar, Bangladesh. Okay, let it be. Your IR sir will be dealing with that. Okay. Now see this article. India's total trade deficit narrows to $6.6 billion as total exports grow. So after seeing this title, what is the keyword in this? Yes, trade deficit. The keyword here is trade deficit. So first of all, let us take this word trade. What is the meaning of trade? Each and every country is not self-sufficient. For example, it may be resource, it may be food, or it may be technology or anything. So one country should depend on another country. So we'll go for trade with other countries. Trade is nothing but we have imports and exports. So what are imports? Remember like this, in, keep this as in. In means the goods which are coming into our country are called as imports. Exports is nothing but we are sending goods to other countries. So from our country, whenever we are sending goods to other countries, that is called as exports. The goods which are coming from other countries to our country called as imports. Okay. So whenever you are studying about this trade, you will be coming across two keywords. First one is trade surplus. Second one is trade deficit. Trade surplus is nothing but we are exporting more compared to that of what we are importing. That is called as surplus. Exports are more compared to that of imports. And next one here is trade deficit. What is trade deficit? We are getting more rather than exporting. So here we have more imports compared to that of exports. So what is this article talking about? Trade deficit. That means India is importing more compared to that of exports. So this is the condition now you are facing. Now, can anyone tell me which goods we will import from other countries? The goods which are not present in our country will be getting from other countries, right? So tell me what are the products that we'll import normally? Crude oil, gold, very good. Next, sunflower oil, semiconductors, defense technology. Next, coal, aluminium. What is that aluminium? Metals, okay. Critical metals, rare earth metals. That means we are importing costly items or cheap items. We will import costly items. And what will export to other countries? Spices, next. Cotton, rice, that means food materials we will be normally exporting. And one more thing here is we are importing crude oil and we'll use fractional distillation method and we'll produce diesel, petrol, naphthalene, kerosene, okay, based on the temperature, and we'll export certain petroleum goods to other countries. And next one is we are importing gold and diamond and we'll export especially finished goods. And next one is we'll also export pharmaceuticals. India is very, very good at exporting of pharmaceuticals. India is a pharmaceutical hub. And next one is India is also good at exporting of textiles. That means if you compare whatever we are importing and whatever we are exporting, is there any match? We are importing very, very costly goods and we are exporting very cheap goods. So that we will be always having this trade deficit. So one important thing that we have to remember always is, if you see trade between US and India, with this country, India is having trade surplus. You have to remember this. Whenever you are saying trade between India and USA, we have trade surplus. So because of this, as soon as Trump came, he started imposing tariffs on Indian goods. Why? Because he wants to maintain trade balance, not trade deficit, not trade surplus. Okay? So that is the thing you have to see. And this article is saying that if you compare with May 2024 and May 2025, so we decreased this trade deficit to some extent. That is the thing which mainly said. So now let us see why we decreased this trade deficit. What are the reasons behind this decreasing of trade deficit? And now tell me from which subject it is important. Yes, it is a topic in your economy which comes under GS paper 3. So only from economy subject we can see this. Yeah, agriculture. That comes under economy only. So here, see the title, see the context. India's trade deficit significantly narrowed to $6.6 billion in May 2025, marking a nearly 30% of decline compared to May 2024. So here, if you compare with the last year and this year, there is 30% of decreasing of trade deficit. Now in 2025 May, so we have a trade deficit of $6.6 billion. It's a huge number, but if you compare the size of our country, population of our country, and if you compare with the last year, it is 30% decreased. Okay, why there is decreasing of trade deficit? So yes, we are increasing and we are focusing on made in India concepts, right? Especially defense. And even yesterday's or day before yesterday's class, we discussed that government came up with relaxing of rules in special economic zones for boosting of semiconductors. That means we are focusing on improving of production in our country. And even recently, one more article we discussed about electric vehicles. Can anyone recall? What is that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, decreasing of import duty on electric vehicles from 70 to 100% to how much percent? Yes, 15%. Why? We want to boost electric vehicles production in our country. So because of all those steps which is taken by our country, now we are starting our domestic production. So whenever we are starting our domestic production, is there any need to bring from other countries? That is the one important reason. Okay. So recently from last 1 week onwards, these are the articles that you had studied, right? So in this way, you have to give that examples while you are writing this kind of answer. So for that, repeated revisions of your current affairs is very, very important. At least try to revise your class notes. Okay, so India's trade deficit decreased by 30%. And total exports had been increased 2.8%. The reasons here is we increased our exports by 2.8%. Is the first reason. And next one here is global oil prices also decreased. This is one important reason. And next one here is we increased our non-petroleum exports by 5.1%. Okay, and even service exports had been grown strongly. And next one is we started our domestic production. So because of these 5 reasons, please make a note. First one is total exports increase. First point, total exports increased by 2.8%. Second one is decreasing of global oil prices. Second one is decreasing of global oil prices. And next one is non-petroleum exports increased. Non-petroleum exports increased. Service exports increased. Service exports increased. And last point, domestic production increased. Domestic production increased. Okay. Done? And see this next article. Registrar General of India issues notification for census. Very, very important news. So finally, we are going to start our census with this official notification given by our RGI. So who is this RGI? What is his role? So why he is in news recently? Okay, registration of births and deaths is not happening to the full level in our hospitals. That is a statement which is given by RGI recently. And apart from that, one more thing. Caste census. Next, one more important article where we discussed about this RGI. Kiran, you are there in the class. MMR, what is the present MMR? Maternal mortality rate, what is the target? Decreasing of MMR in our country. Who said this? RGI. Very good memory, guys. Okay, see here, title says Registrar General of India issues notification for census. So what is this census? What is the meaning of census? Collection of data of total population in our country. Okay, so tell me approximately what is the population of our country? Anyone? Who said? Recently, United Nations Population Fund came up with an estimate. It said that 146 crore people are there in our country. It is a recent estimate of United Nations. But we need to have official data of our India, right? So we are going to start census from 2027. Okay, so let us see the details. So the keyword here is census. So census is nothing but the details of total population of our country. And in India, in 1881, the first census started. And from that time onwards, for every 10 years, once in every 10 years, we are collecting the data of population. So what is the last census data when we collected? In 2011. That means after 10 years means in 2021, we should collect this data. But it had been delayed because of COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so now we are going to start this census, and our RGI, that is Registrar General of India, now officially came up with a notification, and he said that 2027 we are going to start this census. So from 2021 to 2027, why we have delayed this? What is the reason? So here this time there are three important specialities of our census. You have to make a note. So first one here is we are going to include caste census. So earlier we used to have SC and ST data, but now along with collection of this population data, we are also going to add separate column of caste to which they belongs to, and we are going to collect the each and every people's caste now. Okay, so first one is caste census. So because of this caste census only, lots of the times debates, discussions happen. So because of this reason only, this caste census, sorry, this population census has been delayed now. And next one here is second importance of this data here is 1/3 reservation. 1/3 reservation of women bill, which says in state legislative assemblies in Lok Sabha we have to give 1/3 reservation for this woman, which had passed this bill in 2023 itself, but they didn't implement it because they said that after coming of fresh census data we are going to implement this. So if you are getting this census data by 2027, we are going to implement this. It is very, very important so that we can ensure political representation of women. So why we need this political representation? So recently one report or index which is in news. Yes, Global Gender Gap Index, which is released by which organization? World Economic Forum, which said that India is having very low political representation of women. So if we get the census data and if we give this 1/3, that is 30% of reservation for women, means we can improve political representation of data so that we can improve our indicators. And next important thing here is delimitation. What is delimitation?
Separating the boundaries.
Yes, we have to draw the boundaries for territories, okay, especially regarding state legislative assembly and as well as Lok Sabha for redrawing of constituencies. So for that we need to have population data for sure. So if you are getting this 2027 data, we are going to see these three important things. First one is caste census will implement, and next one here is 30% or 33% of reservation for women, and next one is delimitation. So because of this data is very, very important, very crucial. Okay, now tell me what we can do with this data.
Job roles and
So with this data, what we can do now? Why we need this census data? Okay, so we can come up with policies development. So if you want to implement any scheme or if you want to do something for the betterment of any society, we have to see where the society stands. So for that, data is very important. Okay, next.
we can increase in political
Okay, political representation we can increase. Next.
geographically
Okay, social welfare schemes. Next.
geographically like
Okay, number of MPs and MLAs. And now tell me, if you want to collect this census data, what are the challenges we have? What are the challenges we have? Tell me, everyone. Vast population. Okay, next. And tell me who will collect this data? Anganwadi teachers, government primary teachers, and some volunteers, they will be collecting the data. So do we have that much number of Anganwadis or Panchayat department will also help. That means we need lots of resources. Next. So in yesterday's class, we discussed about drowning of some people in some river and Pune bridge collapsed. And one more issue what we discussed in yesterday's class. Helicopter crash. So now monsoon season is going on. If there are any floods, can we go to that area and can we talk to the people like give me your data, give me your data? Is that right? So India is having hazard prone areas. So we have to see the correct time to collect the data. Next. Yes, it is very, very difficult to collect data of tribals, especially they are untouched tribals. Huh? We can collect that. Their family members will give aram se that data. Don't worry about that. Next. Non-residential also they'll get. Next, what happens in this Himalayan region? So will this region, especially Ladakh, is this region always accessible for collecting of data? Yes, because of topography and climate. So these are the challenges that we have to collect this data. Okay, now let us see what this article is saying clearly. And tell me from which subject we can see. We can see this topic from? Polity. Okay, polity delimitation, reservation. Next, governance, GS paper 2. So from these two topics, that is polity and governance, we can see this article is. So our Union Home Ministry has officially notified the next national census will be conducted in 2027. And we don't know like when this result will be out, how much time it will take. So the details are saying that one more advancement in this data here is they are using digital apps. They are using digital mobile applications for collecting of data, and as well as why they are using digital tools is it is easy to use, yes or no? And everyone from this COVID-19 period, they have habituated to use this mobile phones. And next one here is whenever we are using digital tools, errors will be more or less, there will be less errors. And next one is we can speed up data collection, and as well as we can allow real-time monitoring. Okay, that's the one important thing. And next one here is whenever we are using digital tools, what about data privacy? It is one more question. So because if you're downloading any app in that mobile, they'll ask you that I will be looking into your photos, into your mobile numbers, into your accounts like that. And at last they'll say, I accept. You have to click that button, I accept, then only that app will be installed or run in your mobile, right? So because of this, we have a challenge called as data privacy. So how we are going to maintain that data without leaking of the data? So that here, if people have to give the data, first of all, we have to give them trust. Yes, you can give me the data and I will be maintaining your data secretly. So if we are not maintaining the public trust, will they give the data? No, this is one more challenge we have. And next one here is, there are lots of cyber security issues are going on, cyber attacks. So again, this data is also unpredictable. We don't know like when the cyber attack will happen and when the stealing of the data will happen. Again, this is one more challenge now. And next one here is we are having challenge to adapt to the geography, especially some areas are not accessible, some remote areas and Himalayan region, you know about what is happening in this Himalayan region and as well as northeastern region, and especially some tribes, they will not allow outsiders to enter their areas. So in this way, sometimes it will become very difficult to collect the data of remote people or inaccessible areas. That is also one challenge we have. Okay, see this article, very, very important. Shah launches tech platforms for better disaster management. Now tell me, is this topic relevant to you or not? So from which subject? Disaster management from GS paper 3. So can you give me some examples of disasters which are happening in the recent past in India? Liberian, okay, cargo ship and even Singapore based ship had been sunken in this Arabian Sea, which is very much near to this coast of Kerala. And apart from that, Air India plane crash, helicopter crash, Mumbai train issue, stampedes, RCB, very good. Next, landslides, cloudburst, Kumbh Mela stampedes, And recently people are drowning in the water, rivers especially. And next one is in yesterday's class we discussed
Fire accident.
fire accidents. Next, bridge collapse. All these are disasters, and we can say like after we completed this disaster subject, more disasters are coming in the paper. Yes or no? That means we need to properly have the proper disaster management strategy, right? So because of this increasing of disasters in our country, finally our government came up with this using of technology platforms. And you have to make a note, and whenever you're writing your answers in your disaster management, you have to show what are those 3 important technology platforms government came up with. Okay? So let us see this. So our Union Home Minister unveiled 3 major technology platforms. For what? To improve the speed and precision of disaster management. To improve the speed and as well as precision of disaster management, our government came up with this 3 important technology platforms. So make a note, first one is integrated control room for emergency response. First, integrated control room for emergency response. Integrated control room for emergency response. And second one, national database for emergency management, light 2.0. Second one is national database for emergency management. And third one is flood hazard zonation atlas of Assam. Flood hazard zonation atlas of Assam. So in our disaster management class, we clearly discussed that if there is any disaster, first you have to go and you have to see vulnerability map, right? So they came up with this flood hazard zonation atlas of Assam. Okay. So first one here is we have integrated control room for emergency response. So what it does is it will use satellite data and it will helpful for real-time response across the nations. Especially it will be helpful for rescue and relief operations. Okay, first one is important for your rescue and relief operations, and second one is it will provide response forces spread across nook and corners with agility to confront any calamity as a single unit. So the second one, NDM Light 2.0, will be very much helpful for such process. So if there is any building collapse happen, so we don't know where the people had been, right? So it will be helpful for these forces to search nook and corners. So they will be identify where this debris are there, where the humans had been stuck down. And next one here is we have flood hazard atlas map. So it is very helpful for mitigation of these hazards. So here we can understand what is the water level in the rivers and what will be the impact if floods happens. So that we'll take some mitigation measures. So mitigations comes under pre-disaster or post-disaster? Pre-disaster, okay? So in this way, our government came up with these 3 platforms. Very, very important article. And see here, India's uneasy balancing act in the Bay of Bengal. So what is the key word? Bay of Bengal. So where is this Bay of Bengal located? So this is our Bay of Bengal. So now tell me what is the importance of Bay of Bengal so that we can move forward with this article. We can use this Bay of Bengal and we can reach this other countries present here. So first one is very good trade. Okay, first point is trade. Next, artificial ports, not natural. Okay, so for rocket launching we have Sriharikota here. If something happens, it will fall in Bay of Bengal. Okay, for rocket launching. Next. For rocket launching. Next one is major ports we have. For example, Visakhapatnam port. They are artificial, but we have major ports. Next.
Defense.
Okay, coastline. So coastline we have. So what is the livelihood of the people in this coastline? It is important for fishing industries. Yes. Next, fishing industries. Tell me. Trade. I wrote first point. Huh? Okay, Bay of Bengal is also important for monsoon. Bay of Bengal branch will come and it will bring rainfall here. Okay, accepted to some extent. Fine for monsoons. Next. Uh, that's it. Only 5 points are there. Andaman Nicobar. Okay, we have here. So what?
It will add 4 points for taking out
Trade routes. Okay, trade or trade routes. Next.
defense farm.
Defense. Tell me. Come on. Tell me. You can do it. So whenever you are reading, before reading articles, you have to know. Okay, we have mangroves here, right? This part. Actually, this entire article is talking about only one thing, trade and trade routes. Okay, so we are using this Bay of Bengal region to increase trade with this eastern countries, right? So what is that organization name? Anyone? So we are using, India is using this Bay of Bengal and we are reaching, here different countries will be there, no? Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia. So we are using this Bay of Bengal to connect this eastern countries, southeastern countries. Yes, we have one organization called as BIMSTEC. Remember, BIMSTEC. So India is using Bay of Bengal to reach other countries for improving of trade, and this grouping of countries which use this Bay of Bengal for trade is called as BIMSTEC. So please make a note of this BIMSTEC and full form of this BIMSTEC. BIMSTEC is nothing but Bay of Bengal Initiative, BIMSTEC, BIMSTEC, Bay of Bengal Initiative, for multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. Multi-sectoral technical and economic cooperation. Okay, done? So now tell me, what are the problems in our Bay of Bengal we are facing with? Okay, is because of this Bay of Bengal we are having certain problems. What are they? Cyclonic. Next. So recently, which country is this? Which country is this? Bangladesh. Okay, so what happened in this Bangladesh in recent past?
Government
Sheikh Hasina government fall down and she ousted. She came outside and she is taking asylum in India. And after she came out from this Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus, he is a military person, army person. He is running government in Bangladesh, right? So recently, I guess 3 people or 4 people were there in my class. I said there is one statement made by Yunus in China. Can anyone recall? He went to China and he gave a statement regarding northeastern part. What is that statement? Not integral part of Bangladesh. No. Aisha. Come on, remember, recall. Kiran, you are there in that class. He went to China and he made some statements against India. And later on, our Prime Minister also made some retaliation. And he took... no, not. And even he cancelled one agreement. What is that? Come on. Transit agreement of Bangladesh. Yes? Okay, so this article is about that thing only, what we discussed, I think 20 or 30 days ago. So actually what happened was, so in Bangladesh, we don't have political stability now. There is no proper government in Bangladesh. So Sheikh Hasina government fall down and she came out, that is called as ousted, and she took asylum in India. And after that, one army person, his name is Muhammad Yunus, he started government in this Bangladesh for temporary period. And what happened here is that person is pro-China, not pro-India. Sheikh Hasina government is pro-India, but whatever the Muhammad Yunus is there, he is pro-China. And recently he visited China and he did some arguments or some statements against India that this northeastern India is not the mainland, it is nothing but the extension of China. This is the one statement which made by Muhammad Yunus. So because of this, our government got very angry and our government cancelled transit agreement. Okay, our government cancel this transit agreement. So transit agreement is nothing but, here which countries we have? Nepal is there, Bhutan is there. Actually, Bangladesh will do trade with this Nepal and Bhutan. So which land they are using? They are using our roadways, our railways, and they are doing trade with this Nepal and Bhutan. So this agreement is called as transit agreement between India and Bangladesh. So Bangladesh went to other country and it made statements against India. Why will allow this Bangladesh to use our land and railways? No, right? So we cancel that agreement. So now Bangladesh cannot use our land routes or like railway routes or road routes or air routes to do trade with Nepal and Bangladesh. That happened recently 20 days ago. So that is this article is about. Clear? So whatever you are reading in the current affairs, you have to recall it regularly so that you can remember this kind of things. Did I said this or not? Then? Okay, see this article. From which subject it is important now? We are talking about trade. We are talking about India-Bangladesh relations. We are talking about BIMSTEC. So it is important from your international relations and as well as economy. Okay, so here this article is saying that India's economic engagement in Bay of Bengal region are entering a transformative phase. The relationship between India and Bangladesh in this Bay of Bengal region is changing, especially because of increasing of tensions between India and Bangladesh because of the statements made by Muhammad Yunus in China against India. So India's eastern ports are witnessing sustained growth in trade volumes, boosting Bay of Bengal economic connectivity. So especially in the east coast, we have lots of ports, right? So here we have Bay of Bengal and here in this region we have lots of ports. So nowadays what is happening here is there is increasing of trade through especially waterways, and especially our east coast is having artificial ports, that too very big major ports. In this area there is increasing of trade which is happening. And here BIMSTEC, that is nothing but Maritime Transport Cooperation Agreement. So why we came up? To increase the trade and to decrease trade frictions, that is nothing but trade barriers, and to lower the port cost for these members, we came up with this agreement. But actually we withdrawn this Bangladesh transshipment facility. It is nothing but Bangladesh cannot use our roadways, railways or airways to do trade with Nepal and as well as Bhutan, other countries. Okay, so because of this there is increasing of tensions, and if India stops this kind of transshipment facility, which country it will approach? China. That means Bangladesh is moving towards China now. So because of this, is China good friend or enemy of India? Enemy of India. So one more enemy it is joining there. So that is the thing which mainly said here. And even regarding maritime infrastructure, our government is focusing on improving developmental activities in this region. That program is called as Sagarmala program. Through the Sagarmala program also, the cargo movement. What is cargo? Cargo is nothing but goods, right? So the cargo movement also had been increased in this eastern coast in the last decade. But regarding this northeastern land ports, we have certain tensions because of this Bangladesh. So we have to resolve this issue as soon as possible, because trade is very, very important for the development of any country. And India wants to aim for third largest economy. So recently we discussed one article that is India became the fourth largest economy in the world, which beat Japan. And now our Prime Minister is on visit to which country? Cyprus. So in that visit, our Prime Minister made one more statement that India is aiming for third largest economy soon. So if you want to become that third largest economy, again we have to focus on the sports, because they contribute a lot for our economy. So because of this, Bangladesh, lots of issues we are facing in this northeastern part, and we have to resolve it as soon as possible. Clear? So these are the things which are said in this article. Any doubts? Yes, these are the important topics that happened in our today's Hindu newspaper, guys. And by this I'm concluding. Please do like this class and share this class, and do subscribe to Rathods Science Academy, don't forget. And I will be posting one mains question from this today analysis in our Instagram page, so please do follow our Instagram. And by evening 6 p.m. I will be posting the explanation part, either in English or Telugu. Okay?